During this video, I will give you a demonstration of the curriculum admin access within Curriculum Track. Curriculum admins have full administrative rights to the entire software application. As a result, you're going to want to have a limited number of people within your school system that have that access. Typically, we recommend somewhere in the two to four individuals within your school have full administrative rights. So let's take a look at what curriculum admins can do. They're going to have the full menu, and so first of all, this is the dashboard. So this will show me exactly which courses I'm attached to. So a curriculum admin could also be a teacher. In other words, they could have classes or courses attached to them as well. So as a curriculum admin, I have the ability to go to any of my courses, and I have the ability to, that's to see the information about the course, but I can click on this to go to the map for that course. So I have the ability to set up my time frames and units, and I can add in brand new units. I also have the ability to edit the content in the units, any of the units. I also have the ability to attach resources, which could be uploaded files, website links, or embedded text, and I have the ability to attach benchmarks to the unit. So this is an example of a course that I teach, and again, they're going to be listed right underneath here in the maps area. However, I could go to, for instance, third grade science. This is not a course that I teach. However, as an admin, I still have the ability to come in here and I can edit time frames and units, and I have the ability to edit any of those units and attach benchmarks as well as attachments. So as a curriculum admin, you have full administrative rights or the ability to read and write to any unit or any course within Curriculum Track. Next, if we go to the unit plans, you'll see that you have those same administrative rights. So let's go back to that very same course of Dan Sample Science, and I can pull up the unit that we already had created, and notice again I can edit the time frames and units. So I can add new time frames. So if I want to add a quarter 5, I can do that. If I want to add a second unit underneath quarter 1, I can do that. If I want to add a unit under quarter 2, I can do that as well. So let's go ahead and click cancel. So again, I have full administrative rights here as well. In the benchmarks area, I have the ability to view benchmarks. Now, your links underneath here might look a little bit different than mine. And that is because by default, even curriculum administrators don't have the ability to manage your strands, performance standards, and benchmarks, to delete benchmarks, to upload new benchmarks, and so forth. So if you don't see those links, you're going to want to see a video called Managing Strands and Benchmarks. If you go to the help manual, you'll go to the curriculum mapping functions and then scroll to the bottom where it says standards and benchmarks and watch this video right here, and that will tell you how you can manage those strands and benchmarks and get that functionality turned on. We turn it off by default because we pretty much take care of that through support tickets. So if you have standards you want updated, or if you have a list that's ready and you want it uploaded, we'll do that at no charge as part of our support as well. This is also where you see the available standards listing. So if you want to look for any list of standards that we have available, as you can see, we have a very, very extensive list. So you can always come back here, you can view any of these lists, and ultimately order them if you so desire. Again, there's a video on available standards listings, so we'll skip over that for now. As curriculum admins, you also have the ability to access the other curriculum area where you can search for curriculum maps for any subject. So for instance, if I wanted to look for a curriculum map for algebra, I can do that. Teachers can do this as well. Teachers also have the ability to search for particular units. So if I want to do a search for a unit on ecosystems, I could do that as well. You also have the ability to view standards and benchmarks used by other school systems within the curriculum track network. One thing that is unique to you that your teachers do not have the ability to do is to go to the add-on curriculum options. And this is where you can actually either order or turn on some of these add-on features. For instance, the Faith Learning Integration content is an add-on feature that does require a one-time fee. Notice this school already purchased those, but this is where you could actually view what's available and purchase Faith Learning Integration content. The Accommodations and Strategies is something that's free for everybody who uses Curriculum Track. So all you have to do is either enable or disable it. So only Curriculum Admin folks have access to this. And then if you turn those on, notice those links will appear here as well for all your teachers. The reports, really the reports here are the same access that your teachers would have. So you can generate all the same reports that they would have. Now we're getting into the area where it's very, very unique for you as a curriculum admin, and that is in the admin area. Your curriculum editors and curriculum viewers will not have access to all these administrative tools, and so we'll see this admin link at all. And so this is where you can manage your courses database. So a curriculum admin has the ability to add brand new courses. So let's go ahead and go back. They have the ability to copy entire courses. And when we say copy courses, if you already have your maps set up for that course, that copy will bring those maps over. So that's a really nice way to clone an entire course. I know, for instance, sometimes PE teachers like to develop their curriculum maps for maybe third grade, but then the fourth grade is going to have a lot of the same mapping information. So you could very easily copy that and then just adjust it for the new course. They have the ability to edit courses. So if I needed to change the name or anything about the course, I could do that as well. Administrators or curriculum admins also have the ability to attach benchmarks to courses. So for instance, if I look at kindergarten science, notice there are 20 benchmarks attached to that course, and here they are. There's actually a really good video on attaching benchmarks to courses that we strongly recommend all curriculum admin folks watch early on in the process. Curriculum admin folks also have the ability to attach teachers to a course. So in here, notice there's 2 teachers attached, but if I want to attach another teacher, I simply choose them, go to the bottom, and click Save. I'll click Go Back because I don't want that to take root. They also have the ability to rename multiple courses simultaneously. So this is a real nice way. For instance, if you just had it saying grade 1 and you wanted to say grade 1 science, you could rename many courses at the same time and click Save. You have the ability to change the sort order of your courses. So for instance, if this was out of order and maybe 6th grade science was here instead, all you have to do is click, hold your mouse button down, and drag it to where you want it to be, and you can sort it. You don't even have to save it. The save is automatic. You have the ability to import courses, and this is more of a setup process itself. You have the ability to export that data. If for any reason you would like to have an export of all your courses out of Curriculum Track. You also have the ability to import timeframes and units. Once again, part of a setup process that if you have all of your timeframes and units in an Excel file, this is a real quick way that you can set that up for all your teachers. So that is just the courses database. You also have the ability to go to the users database where I can find any of our users. If I don't enter any search criteria and just click search, that's a quick way to see all of your users in the system. You can edit any of these users. If you want to, you can delete them. You can make them inactive. We're not a big fan of ever making a user deleting them. If you want to make them inactive for a time being, you can certainly do that. Just come here, edit the user, and just uncheck this box and click Save, and they would become inactive. You also have the ability to auto log in as any of your teachers. So if you want to see what curriculum track looks like to this teacher right here, you can click on this and it will log you out as yourself and instead log you into curriculum track as that user. You have the ability to import all your teachers. This again is something you're not going to do every year, but instead part of the setup process. You can export your users. We don't do a lot with groups, but if you want to have groups, so it's easier for you to kind of manage your teachers, especially if you're a large group system. You might want to have your elementary teacher group, middle school teacher group, and high school teacher group, and so forth. And but again, that's completely optional. Also in this area is where you would see your primary contacts. It's very important that you keep this up to date for us, because this tells us who to contact, what email to contact if we need to let you know about new changes within the software or maybe server upgrades or anything like that. So we recommend that every school have probably 2 different main contacts. This school only has 1, but it'd be nice if you have 2 of those. And this is also where you would enter those folks that should get the invoices emailed to them. So that is under the users database. Utilities, this is where you would manage all your various utilities. These are things that most schools, quite honestly, are never going to touch. But for instance, if you wanted to turn off your other curriculum area because you don't want to share with other schools, this is where you would do it. Most of those others you're probably not going to touch. But again, this is in the admin area, so it's only available to curriculum admin folks. In the setup area, this is a very large area and typically something that's used very extensively in maybe the first month or so of your use of curriculum track. And then hopefully you don't have to come back to this very regularly again. This is where you define your terms. So for instance, in the standards and benchmarks area, if you're, instead of calling them benchmarks, you want to call them learning targets, you can change the terminology in our curriculum terms area. This is where you can manage the programs. So for instance, if your school is not using agriculture, you can click edit here and uncheck this box like this school did so that it's not active. So you'll see that this school actually just made the ones active they wanted. If there's a program that curriculum track doesn't have in it that you want added, you can click add program and enter in that program name as well. And again, I'm glossing over these because there's videos for all these different features, but I'm just trying to give you a big picture view of what curriculum admin folks can all do. They have the ability to manage the templates. So as part of the setup process, you will have a consultation with us, or a couple consultations possibly. And during one of those consultations, our support folks will work with you to define what fields you want to have in your curriculum map. So notice essential questions, learning targets, assessments, learning lessons, activities, assignments, and so forth. This is what this school is using. And so what that is if I go to my map, once again, it's these fields right here. These are defined by the curriculum admin folks in the setup area under manage templates. Also, if you want to set up default templates, you can do that. So instead of forcing teachers to type in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3 for all their brand new courses, you can add these in one time. And then what it allows your teachers to do is in the curriculum maps area, when they click edit timeframes and units, they can click on this to say, I want to copy these all down. I'm not going to do that because I already have all those quarters. And a lot of schools are starting to use the lockdown feature where they actually define all those time frames for the teachers themselves. And so there's other videos on that as well, but again, that's in the manage templates. You would set up your time frames and then lock those down if you're one of those schools. Shared templates. So if you want to see what other schools are doing for their mapping process, you can see what their fields they're using in their curriculum maps. This is also where you can set up your learning depths. So when I attach benchmarks to a unit, so let's go ahead and go to this unit once again, and if I'm going to attach benchmarks, notice that by default they're not covered, but I could choose whether they're instructed or assessed. And in this case, when we say assessed, it's a higher level than instructed. When we say assessed, we mean that it's taught, it's instructed, and assessed, whereas instructed means just instructed. So those learning depths are in this setup area, and most schools don't change this, but just so you know, you have the ability to change those terms and even add a third or fourth depth if you so desire. This is also the public access area, so this is where you can set up your public access. So if you want to create a link on your website where your parents could come in and they could pull up units and maps, they can do that through the public access area. So it's just with these URLs right here. Curriculum editor access. By default, curriculum editors, so that's typically going to be your teachers, will only be able to edit the content for their courses. Or if you say, I want curriculum editors to be able to edit the content for all courses, you can do that. But we recommend that if you're not sure, keep it here or talk to our support folks. And then the allowed file types. So when you upload files as resources within your units, these are the file types that are allowed by your school. So this school does not allow flip charts, but if they wanted to allow them, they can click on this, and now that adds it to the available file types. I'll take that back out again. So again, a lot of things going on here. Admins also have the ability to set up announcements. So if they add a brand new announcement, a reminder or instructions, information, those announcements can be date driven. So you can add those in and put a start and end date. And when you add those announcements, they will appear right in this area every time a teacher logs in. You can even put in announcements where you force the teachers to check a box that or check a link that says, I read this announcement, and you can see who checked that and who didn't. You also have the ability to access your unit backups. So this is just curriculum admins. They can come here and they can find a unit. So maybe you have a science teacher that came back to you really worried about losing a unit. And you can ask them, okay, it's third grade science. The unit name is Earth and Me. So you can pull it up, and if the teacher says, yep, this looks like what it was before, you can restore it from a previous date. What we do is we have these backups for the past week, and then after we get a week out, then we go weekly, going back 8 weeks. So we have 2 months worth there. That can be a really handy feature for teachers, for admins to put teachers at ease if they come to you frantic because they messed up a unit. And then also in this area, we have the ability to, you can set up archive versions. So there is an additional fee. It's 10% of whatever you're paying for your annual service fee. But what it is if you want to take a copy of all your curriculum as it stands today and put that aside so that now any new changes I make are fine, but I could always go back to the old copy. That's what that archive versions is. We don't do a lot with this because at Curriculum Track, we really see the curriculum maps as a living, breathing document, something that's always changing. And so, you know, when you're working within your units, that's always the live version. As far as the help manual, that's accessible to you as an admin, but honestly, that's accessible to every user within your system. So your curriculum editors, teachers, and your curriculum viewers as well. The support center is something that only a select number of folks within your school system should have as well. And if you are a curriculum admin, you really should have access probably to submit support tickets as well. We don't want all your teachers to be able to submit support tickets because quite honestly, we would get barraged with lots and lots of support tickets. So instead, what we ask is your teachers first, if they have questions, go to your main curriculum admin folks in your school because it would be good for you to know what kind of questions those teachers have. However, if they have a question or an issue that you're not able to resolve for them, then you can submit a support ticket on behalf of them. You don't necessarily have to be a curriculum admin. I'll show that in the permissions in a bit to have support center access, but we do recommend that if you are a curriculum admin that this is turned on for you or for curriculum admins. If you click on your name itself, you can also log out, you can change your password, and you can access the user's database from there, or you can access it from admin users database. So let's quick look at the users database just a little bit closer. Let's look up Mike Vanderberg, and if I click on editing for him, it shows me his permissions. And so notice that Mike Vanderberg right now is a curriculum viewer. If you have someone who is a curriculum admin, they'll be able to do everything I just showed you in this video. Now, the support center and the user accounts administration, those two things are not necessarily part of curriculum admin, folks. However, if you make someone a curriculum admin, I probably would for sure give them support center access and maybe even user account administrator. We separated this out because maybe you have a lead teacher that you don't want to make an editor, but you still want to allow them to be able to submit support tickets. So we do have other videos on permission levels and what's all involved in the user's database, but I just did want to point that out, that this checkbox and this checkbox will give them access to this, and the other checkbox, the support center, gives them access to this. And then curriculum admin means they're going to be able to see admin and have full administrative rights to the software. This now concludes this instructional video and demonstration on the curriculum editor, our curriculum admin access.